A few years ago, I began training what would become my favorite move in calisthenics, the planche. I thought it was so cool how people basically lifted their feet into the air, and I really wanted to get it for myself. In one of the first days that I started training it, I told myself that before I died, I would achieve a full planche. And I trained at it almost every day, hoping and hoping to see progress, and I wanted to achieve it, right? I was excited, I was motivated, and inspired by the people I saw on social media. A few months later, I noticed that I was getting less attached to it. I started slacking on the workouts, and I would even occasionally miss some. And eventually, I gave up. I wasn't seeing progress. I didn't like the way it looked so far, and I just got demotivated. A few months later, I got the inspiration back. I learned to like it again, and I started training again. And once again, I told myself that I would get it. I repeated this cycle 4 times in that first year. 4 times, giving up and getting back to it. Again and again. My name is Amit, and if you relate to that story at all, I completely understand. It sucks, right? To lose motivation to something you were sure you were gonna get even a few weeks ago. If you stick with me here, I'm gonna explain to you how I learned to stick with my long-term goal, how to keep my concentration alive and to focus my energy. And I'll explain how to do it in pretty simple terms, I think. Imagine your motivation as a car's gas tank, right? And as you drive, as you spend time working at your goal, the tank slowly lowers, bit by bit. You don't really notice it up until it gets to this line where you start to see, oh man, I'm getting pretty low. And imagine a gas station is really where you fill the tank, but it's also where you get a fill of motivation. And these gas stations are where you see progress. Because whenever you see progress in a goal, right? Let's say you're working towards the full planche and you notice your tuck planche is getting a bit cleaner than it was before. Like better form, more accurate, better hand placement, I don't know, whatever. You get a bit of motivation back because you see that your hard work is going into something and it's not just being there for no reason, right? You're actually seeing what you've tried to do put into place. So the main objective of getting from point A, where you are now, to point B, where you want to be with your goal, is really simple. You just travel using the gas stations, the motivation fillers, which is the progress. And as you progress, as you get better at whatever you're working on, let's say the planche, you keep getting that refill of motivation that you need to keep going. But sometimes it doesn't work like that. Sometimes you find this plateau where you're not making any progress, or so it seems. So how do you push yourself when you're in this plateau, when you think you're not making any progress and you're getting kind of bored? So my favorite thing, something that I've recently found through trial, I guess, is just expanding the time frame that I'm looking at. To see progress, you have to compare it to something, and the farther back you look, the more you have something to compare to. So let's say I want to bulk up to 200 from 165, because that's what I am right now, pounds. And if I look at the scale, if I go every day on the scale and I check the numbers, I'm gonna see these sort of fluctuations that go up and down, right? Let's say I make a sheet and every day I put those numbers on the sheet. if I look at it day to day, basically each day I check it and I write it down, it's not going to look like it goes up. It's just going to look like it goes up and down and up and down and it returns back. But let's say I look at it weekly, like every week. Then you can start to notice this slight change from these deep fluctuations to this more shallow fluctuations and this pattern that is trending up, right? Looks like a stock market stock. Now let's say you look monthly. Then you're really gonna see the uptrend and much less of the fluctuations, because the farther back you look in time, the less fluctuations you're gonna see and the more of the actual pattern you see. That's how it works in stocks, that's how it works in goals, right? And it's actually a very cool pattern. So when you're not seeing any progress, when you feel like you're getting not motivated due to you not getting any stronger or better or whatever at the thing you want to do, look back to a year ago when maybe you haven't started yet, or maybe you just started, or you were worse than you are now. And that really helps me stay on track, because I know, even though I might not look like now that I'm making any progress, I know that my future self is going to be happy that I put in the work today. In my own experience, it often doesn't look like it, but I think most of the progress that I make in the planche or with any other goal I have is not when I'm at the motivation station, the gas station, when I see the progress, but really when I'm putting in the work, when I'm not seeing the progress, during those plateaus where I keep going even though I'm not seeing any real change. Whenever I'm feeling tired or unmotivated, something I really like to think of is that the less I want to do something that would help me, the more valuable it is to do that thing. So whenever I would have a workout that I really didn't want to go to, I didn't want to get out every piece of equipment I needed, I didn't want to stretch out, I didn't want to warm up, I would just imagine that most people wouldn't, and they wouldn't get any better. And I knew that if I did get better, I would jump ahead a few places and I would continue to improve, even though some people weren't. They were giving up. And that really, really helped me, because naturally I'm a pretty competitive person, and I really enjoy competition because it pushes everyone to get better. And
Your food's here.
what was that? Basically, I would think that the more discipline I used when performing an action, the more it would help me in the long term. And that really worked for me a lot of the times. Obviously not every time. I still made mistakes. I still submitted to the comfort sometimes, but I think I did that less than if I just kind of let it happen. So that was my little tangent about achieving goals, whether on the shorter side or more long term. So you stay focused, and that's what I've been using to work on my calisthenics skills, work on this YouTube channel, and I've actually found it really enjoyable. I find it way more fun than just not having a goal, and that makes life have meaning. So it's a lot more fun, even when I know I could be better. I still know how much I can improve, and that makes me excited for the next day, the next hour. And so I'd like to thank you for watching. I have a community, if you'd be interested in joining, where it's mainly focused on calisthenics and becoming a better person because of it. And if that sounds good, I'd love for you to join. It'll be the first link in the description. So thank you for watching.